All right, we're here at the Grove Creek Trailhead. We're going to be hiking up the Grove Creek Canyon Trail today. If you look here, you can see the beginning of the trail. We're going to hike at least 2.2 miles up to the waterfall, and then we'll see where we go from there. To start the hike today, you'll notice that my shoes, my hiking boots, have micro spikes on them, crampons. These will help me to remain stable as I'm walking up slick terrain. This is very important if you're going to walk up trails with snow or ice. You need to have the proper foot gear. I once hiked this same trail without that gear and almost broke my hand after slipping on a patch of ice. So we're going to go ahead and start, and let's head up the mountain. Here we have the Grove Creek. We're going to follow along this for a little while, but not too far from here, the trail will start to climb and we won't be able to see the creek anymore. It's beautiful this time of year. During the summer, this creek is actually cut off and the water's diverted, I believe, for irrigation. Looks like we found some wildlife. Those appear to be some rams up there on the mountain. This is actually right here, the steepest part of the trail. Let's go ahead and head up. Whoa. There are the rams. They cleared off the trail pretty quick as I came up, but I don't think they're terribly scared of people. So once again, we're walking along Grove Creek itself. You can see it down below. We've got a nice stretch here where we're hiking parallel to the creek. Soon we're going to start to climb, and we won't see the creek again for quite a while. But for now, let's just enjoy where we are. So here's an important point in the trail. We're about 0.6 miles up, and now we come to another fork in the road. You can see here there's a semi-trail that kind of leads and keeps going parallel to the creek. And then you've got this hairpin turn that now takes you up and towards the mouth of the canyon. First time I hiked this, I got really confused because I thought, don't I want to go this way if I want to keep going up? But in fact, we want to go this way, which is going to take us up near the mouth of the canyon, where there are some pretty spectacular views of the valley, and then eventually we'll cut back again. All right, we're here at what I like to call the Grove Creek Lookout. From this point, you can see almost the entirety of Utah Valley, stretching all the way from the point of the mountain, Thanksgiving Point, coming back, seeing the entirety of Utah Lake, and even all the way down to Spanish Fork, Utah. On a clear day, with a pair of binoculars, you can actually get a pretty good view of the windmills there at the mouth to Spanish Fork Canyon. Let's take a moment, take in the scenery. We are now about 1 mile up from the trailhead to Grove Creek Canyon. And this, in my opinion, is where the trail really begins. We are leaving civilization behind. From this point on, we're going to go deeper and deeper into the mountain. And the views from this trail are absolutely spectacular. You can even see the thin line across the mountain that we're going to be hiking up as we continue our trek today. right, we've come to one of my favorite spots on the trail. This is an area where the trail literally appears to be carved out of the rock on the side of the mountain. The views from here are absolutely stunning. Look over and see the valley. Now obviously, you don't want to go walking off the side of this. Looks a little more dangerous than it actually is. Just hug the wall and you'll be perfectly fine. But you definitely want to mind your step, otherwise you'd be having a really bad day. So here, we're coming up on a fun section of trail that I like to call the Highway to Shale. In the summer, or spring, or heck, even the fall when there isn't snow, this entire face is basically one shale rock slide where the trail has flattened a portion that people can walk over. Right now in the winter, we're walking over on snow. Up ahead, you can actually see another one of my favorite sections of the trail. This is another place where the trail seems to be cut out of the very rock itself. Remember what I said earlier about having the proper foot gear? This is where you're really glad that you've got crampons on your feet that can hug the ice. Right now, I can put my foot on this patch of ice right here, and I have perfect traction. Here's a place where you definitely want to watch your step. So now we've reached a part of the trail that my wife and I like to call Pride Rock. If you look, you can see that this is a part of the trail that kind of slants down in a delta shape. Now I know what you're gonna say, Pride Rock slants upward, not downward. And you're right. But as far as the feeling of coming to a point and being very high up and having some spectacular views, that's why we call it Pride Rock. Let's go and give it a look. Oh, just heard a little bit of an ice slide there. Looks like some icicles fell right behind us. You do have to be a little careful on these trails. You can see here just how steeply this trail slants. We're going to be hiking up there in just a moment to continue our trek. It's a little safer than it looks. It looks pretty sketchy from this angle, but you do definitely want to watch your step. Make sure that you mind yourself, that you pay attention to the trail. Otherwise, you could slip and again, you'd be having a really, really bad day if that was the case. We're going to go ahead and continue upward, and our destination can actually be seen up ahead. You see where those pine trees are starting to fill in the distance. There's a bench up there that will mark what most people see as being the end of the Grove Creek Trail, but we might go a little further today. All right, this is one of my favorite milestones and features of this trail. This tree that looks like it's growing right out of the rocks. It's really amazing how even in a desert like this, you can have life pop up in the most unexpected places. As we come around this bend, we're coming to the final approach to the bench that overlooks the Grove Creek waterfall. So here we are at the bench overlooking the Grove Creek Trail. You can see behind me we have a pretty incredible view. This is one of my favorite places to come. All right, let's continue a little bit further. And we're going to come to a place where a lot of people stop on this trail, and that's the footbridge. And unfortunately, it's the place where we're going to have to stop as well, because I forgot to take an extra battery for my camera today. So here's a fun spot in the snow. You gotta watch your step. Sometimes even when the trail is packed down, it's not packed down just right, you can still end up to your waist deep in the snow. And here we are. We've come to the footbridge. It's a fun place a lot of people like to visit throughout the year, both in the summer and in the winter. You can see Grove Creek coming down, a couple of tributaries here. If we had the battery power, I'd keep going, and I'd show you the spring that is the source of one of these tributaries, but we'll have to save that adventure for another day. If I were to keep going up this trail today, this is what I like to affectionately call the gateway to heaven, because this is the point where the trail just becomes super pretty. So thank you for joining me on this adventure today. I hope you enjoyed the trip. There are a lot of trails that don't see quite as much action, quite as many people, because they're not as well known, but this one is near and dear to my heart, especially this time of year in the winter when everything is covered in snow and it's so beautiful. Be smart, be careful, watch for avalanche warnings, make sure you have the right foot gear, but you don't have to wait until the summer or the spring to get out here. This is a wonderful time to go hiking.